message presented by the Connecticut Interscholastic Athletic Conference and the Connecticut Association of Athletic Directors.
West Haven is the site of the Class L semifinals. Wethersfield takes on Immaculate.
Number 5,
you're watching CPTV Sports.
Number 6.
Hello, everybody. Francesco Graziano Jr. alongside my partner, Sean Mecke. It's loud in here. Everybody's excited. Immaculate comes into this game. They've won 9 state titles in 14 years of Nelson Migachos being their coach. Last year, Wethersfield, they lost in the first round, but they're here in the semifinal today, and they hope that they can advance to the final.
Yeah, definitely have to look at Immaculate as the favorite, just simply because of their experience at this stage in the tournament, if nothing else. But Wethersfield's worked very hard to get here, and they're going to put up a heck of a fight tonight.
And now for the whole
Speaking of Wethersfield, coming into this matchup, their top scorer is Kayla Generis.
Yeah, Kayla Generis, 14 goals on the season, although you'll notice down the stretch that scoring production is lowered a little bit as she's turned provider. Look for Generis to control that midfield and look to get the other members of her team forward in on goal.
Number 5, Stephanie Pellegrino.
We're going to talk about somebody that she's been passing to lately that's got a lot of goals. And on conference, girl, that's a freshman. On the other side for Immaculate, 14 straight appearances in the semifinal. They are led by an All-American candidate.
Yeah, Paige Davis, number 13, 12 goals, 10 assists on the year. So she does it all. She creates the goals, she scores the goals. This is a young lady with a pedigree. All-American candidate this year, New England last year, 2-time state player of the year. So certainly everyone here knows what she brings to the table.
It's so loud that they had to turn the PA all the way up to try to drown these fans. We'll come back with the starting lineups next. You're watching CPTV Sports.
Excuse me, number 99, Haley Davis. Immaculate is coached by Nelson Migachos.
Friday Night Under the Lights is made possible by Connecticut Lighting Centers and Restoration Lighting Gallery. Proud to support our communities and our student athletes. Tune in every Friday to catch the best in live high school football on CPTV Sports.
There's just one place where students are students first, and athletics are played with purpose and perspective. That place is your local high school. High school sports offer more than the joy of competition. Studies show that student athletes in Connecticut are also likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in other areas of their lives, including academics. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Connecticut Interscholastic Athletic Conference and the Connecticut Association of Athletic Directors.
There are a few who move toward the sounds of chaos. Forged in the crucible of training, they are the first to move toward the sounds of tyranny, injustice, and despair. They are the few, the proud, the Marines.
Want to plan an exciting family vacation but don't know where to start? Join me, Colleen Kelly, as we travel the world. Welcome to the beautiful country of Ireland, New Orleans, Louisiana. Get ready because we're going to explore Los Angeles beyond Hollywood and the beach. I'll give you tips and advice to take the guesswork out of planning your next family getaway. Oh! So pack your bags and join me, Colleen Kelly. We're going on vacation.
Tuesdays at 8:30 a.m. on CPTV Sports. Tune in to CPTV Sports Tuesday nights at 7 for all new episodes of Beyond the Beat. Joe D and his panel of guests give you frank dialogue on local sports topics from real local sports people. It's Beyond the Beat, only on CPTV Sports. The 6-seeded Immaculate Mustangs, 12-2-4 out of the SWC against the 13-4-1 Wethersfield Eagles out of the CCC. We're just about ready to go here in the Class L semifinal. Good pedigree for Immaculate coming in. 14 now straight semifinals, actually 13, and they're 9-3 in the semifinals. When they win in the semifinals, they go on to the championship and they win it all. Early on, Julia Martin having to play some defense for Immaculate. Starters for Immaculate, up top, they got Kayla Lanza and Haley Davis. A flat 4 in the middle, Bella Migachos, Paige Davis, Victoria Kirkman, and Caitlin Linden. Sweeper stopper. The stopper is Mackenzie Jarbo. The sweeper, Shawnee Altarizio. And the backs, Mackenzie Mitchell and number 5, Stephanie Pellegrino. Player going down out there. You see early on. The Immaculate's going to be dressed in white here with the pinstripes. And in dark navy, that's darker than blue, is Wethersfield. Good start for Immaculate. They've been on the attack the whole time here, Sean.
Yeah, straight away from the very first kickoff, Immaculate spending the entire 2 minutes that have passed in the attacking end. We'll hopefully see Wethersfield able to clear lines and open up this game a little bit.
Starters for Wethersfield, the freshman, who we kind of alluded to with that tease in the open. Kayla Generis plays behind her as the center attacking mid. But it's up top, Jane Rumley, and it's Gabby Skaka and Bianca Tada, who are the right and left midfielders. And the holding midfielders are Stephanie Emanuel and Maddie Raposo. On the back line from right to left, Kendall Cathcart. Good defense here by Wethersfield. They're going to try to turn it around. Megan Darrell, Nikki DiLoretto, and Julia Martin. Their goalkeeper, Summer Boudet. Coach calls Summer Boudet the backbone of this team. And then on that play, away from the goalkeeper, an elbow by number 15, Shawnee Altarizio. The junior anchors the defense. She is a 2-time all-conference selection.
First glimpse of possession here from Wethersfield. They seem very keen to play to feet and keep the ball. Something Coach Emily Finelli talked about is the speed and physicality that Immaculate brings to the table. And Wethersfield's going to be looking to play quickly. Nobody on the ball for more than 2-3 seconds is the mantra that Coach Finelli has put on these girls.
That's what you learn when you play in the CCC against such strong competitors like Simsbury, Glastonbury, and South Windsor. Good attack now by Wethersfield. Can they get that to the outside of Tada? They do. First foray into the box for Wethersfield, and it's handled. You see, when you're able to make a mistake like that, Immaculate pounces. So that's why it's good to play in the CCC. Now you play a team with a pedigree like Immaculate, you're ready to go.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, they've faced some very tough opponents throughout this season, and they're certainly ready for a challenge like this. I really like that combination there between Tada and Rumley. Really good to see this early in the game. They're very comfortable playing to each other's feet.
Let's belabor the point. If you had a Letterman jacket and you had the years of the championships on that jacket, 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006, didn't win in 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, and 2012. That's 9 out of 10 years that Immaculate won the Class S championship.
Yeah, that isn't just a dynasty. That is altogether dominance. And, you know, in the time since when the competitiveness rules put in place by the CIAC, you know, the first 4 of those championships were in Class S, and they've since had to move up and compete at these bigger classes. Enrollment-wise, though, Immaculate's still a Class S school.
Some trouble for Boudet as that ball just carried. We were in West Haven the other night for the Class LL semifinal on the boys' side. It was cool, not windy at all. It dropped the temperature from when the game started, but otherwise not too bad. And tonight, it says 50 degrees on the scoreboard. Chris Everone and crew might have to recalibrate because I think it's just a little bit cooler because of the wind.
Yeah, the wind blowing mostly left to right according to where we're standing. It's not especially gusty out there, but there is a steady breeze blowing toward the Wethersfield goal this half.
The CIAC loves to have their games in New Haven because of the athletic staff and, of course, It's one of the top groundskeepers around, Chris Everone, but everybody knows the secret around here that he's got a top assistant in Alberto. And that gentleman gets things done here. Nonetheless, that game we had here the other night in West Haven was nuts. Farmington and Danbury going down on the wire with 1 minute and 40 seconds left. Ryan Cozio with the strike. Haley Davis charging hard at that ball, and then you see a flop at the end of that.
Yeah, some physical play here from Davis, and really this is an early indication of how our official, Bruno Mauzo, is going to call this game. Really not a whole lot in that, but certainly something you could see whistled. So looks like his style, his preference is to allow these girls to play and allow a little bit of physicality.
When you play for a guy like Nelson Mingachos, and he gets to be able to take some of the best players from that area, you got to be in good shape, but you got to be physical, and they have a nice physical side. In fact, the weird part is I think the smallest girl on the team is Nelson's daughter, Bella.
Yeah, I was going to say, just looking at these two teams, you know, Immaculate really has the look of a college side with their height and their size, and I'm sure that their style of play is going to really coincide with that.
Attempting to make this incision is Linden. Linden, an all-state player from a year ago, is able to get the call. Look at that. Early on, we've drawn a card.
That's a little bit confusing to me. I mean, here I am a minute and a half ago talking about how we're going to have a loose style officiating tonight. Emmanuel clipping the ankle there. Free kick was given, and then additionally we'll see the yellow card. I think that might be a bit harsh.
Is that on Manuel? Yellow card in the 8th minute. Saw Rumley in the area, but I guess they're going to charge it to Stephanie Emmanuel. Direct kick coming, and Linden's going to handle it.
You know, we've talked about it before. My favorite part about playing in these football stadiums is you always get an accurate 10 yards for this wall.
And they're jumping up and down in anticipation. Great shot by Linden. 1-0. A yellow card in the 8th minute produces a direct kick, and Linden hammers it home. A lot of excitement from this Immaculate crowd. You got to count on Linden, an all-state soccer player. She gets the opportunity after the yellow card. She kind of makes it look easy.
Yeah, but it's not. I mean, from that angle to be able to put a shot on frame that gets beyond that wall is actually a very difficult skill, and I'm sure she spends a lot of time after training working on these set pieces.
That is their 35th career goal. Well, you got to feel for Wethersfield. They come in here very loose. Definitely the looser side, just because of the fact that they feel like they've had some big games this year. Last year wasn't their year. They've come a long way. And all of a sudden, it's time to get serious.
And there's a little bit less expectation, you think, on a Wethersfield side here. You know, for Immaculate, losing last year in the semifinal, you've got a long road to get back and win this fixture that they didn't win last year, and it's been marked on their calendar, whereas Wethersfield, you know, you don't want to say the words happy to be here because I'm sure they're not content with that, but there's less pressure because there's less expectation for them.
Last year it was Jen Cahoot and the Brantford side that stunned Immaculate 1-0. And since then, as you mentioned, Immaculate circling this time of the year on their calendar, trying to get back there. As we mentioned, 13 straight appearances in the semifinal, and now they've got a 1-0 lead. Handling the ball now for Wethersfield. Number 12, Nikki DiLoretto.
Yeah, and I'm loving the possession these last 30 seconds or so. They've just got to find a way to move it further up the field, keep that possession going, but get into the Immaculate half.
Kendall Cathcart had that possession and then was tackled. Interesting stat for Wethersfield. They've given up 20 goals on the year, but basically 10 of those goals came against Glastonbury, Simsbury, and South Windsor. Might actually be 11 out of the 20 goals. The rest of the time, 9 shutouts and 9 goals in the rest of those games. So they've been taking care of business. Glastonbury and Simsbury are playing in the Double L semifinal. Shows you how good they are. And South Windsor made it pretty far in L. Linden takes it off the shin. She's not excited about that. Throw-in will occur, and Julia Martin will handle it for the Wethersfield Eagles.
Number 20, Mackenzie Mitchell.
Mackenzie Mitchell in, out for Wethersfield. Raposo was actually out, and it's going to be Shayla Bailey that comes in. Now back on the attack. Quick shot from far away. They got a freshman in net for Immaculate, Kristen Rossler. You're going to say, hey, it's a freshman. No, not with Immaculate. They have a propensity to develop just hot goalkeeping. Very valuable players. One of the players they used to have, Ashley Houghton, is on at the next level. Of course, back in the day, one of their goalkeepers, a national champion at Notre Dame, a CCSU graduate after that. So they've got a lot there. And now Rossler, the freshman, has done well all year.
And as they like to say, there really are no freshmen on the team at this point in the year. They've had a full season under their belt. And you're looking at 2 goalkeepers here who've been through the test of penalty kicks already in this postseason. So should be a good matchup again tonight, looking at those 2 position players.
Rossler's team won 5-4 in penalty kicks. The ball went over her head in that matchup against Northwest Catholic. And that shot goes wide. Ball sailed over her head. And then on the other side for Boudet, a 10-round shootout, 9-7 they won. She saved 2 penalty kicks. More importantly, you say that they're maybe not freshmen this time of year. Jane Rumley absolutely missed a penalty kick, sobbing afterwards. She had to be, talked to after the game. Just a freshman. They don't know if they're going to put her back in that situation, but they do have the confidence in her. And at this point, Jane Rumley from Wethersfield started off the year in JV, and now she's got 6 goals, all CCC in her freshman year. That's amazing.
Yeah, and this is a player that, as we said earlier, started the year as a freshman on the JV team, and they just recognized the talent of Rumley, and they've thrust her into the limelight here as their lone attacker. It's been a figuring out process. You bring Rumley in up top, and all she brings to the table, and then slide Generis in underneath of her to play creator. And what it's done is really the diversity of attacking options on this Wethersfield team is pretty cool. It's a thing that's hard to scout against because the attack has come from so many different players.
That Wethersfield defense, though, they hound the ball. Generis came up from her center attacking midfield position.
Look at a little flip-flap here from Tata on the outside. Love that bit of skill.
Loretto trying to give it off to Martin, but I believe it will be an Immaculate throw. And they are waiting for number 5 on Immaculate to take it. That is Stephanie Pellegrino. She's got some goals of her own right as a defender this year. Ball up in the air, 1-on-1. Both players go down. Wethersfield tries to clear it. That was Boudet, the goalkeeper, that went down. And then number 12, Kayla Lanza. Nice through ball. Davis off the post. It's cleared away.
Yeah, good save from Boudet there. She did well to come and close the angle. And really at that point, it's not a reaction save. You're just trying to stay big and make sure that the ball hits you instead of the back of the net.
It was actually Lanza recovering from that blow she suffered with the goalkeeper. And then taking the shot. Lanza, hound, another shot. Davis off her foot. And Boudet is up to it. Another chance. Stopped by the Wethersfield goalkeeper.
And an important tackle in there from Julia Martin as well. Been pretty impressed here with Lanza in the last couple minutes. Just that grittiness in the box. You know, it doesn't always have to be pretty. You just have to have the sheer will. And she's nearly beaten Boudet to the ball a couple times here. But to be fair, Boudet coming through.
Lanza bulldog on that last possession. Then you look at what Wethersfield was trying to build there. That was pretty, the pass that you saw from Rumley to the attacker. But now, Immaculate with Davis, Haley Davis. Haley Davis, a junior forward. That time, Lanza just suffering on the turf, doing a split and losing the ball back to Wethersfield. Rumley, now to Raposo. I don't know if she tried to flip that one into Generis or go out wide to Gabby Skaka.
Yeah, I think Skaka was the intended target there, but that's going to be a difficult ball. Even if she can thread that needle and reach Skaka, she's going to be under double coverage. And what I'd really love to have seen her try there is to find Kendall Cathcart on the right side, coming up the right side defender, because there was a big pocket of space there. And that's a spot that they're going to have to look to exploit if they're going to get numbers forward, is that wide space in the midfield.
Cathcart, a freshman. The right back. The center back is a sophomore. The left mid is a sophomore. And then Bianca Tata, our right mid, is a sophomore as well. So you got 4 underclassmen in this lineup. That one's popped in the air. Can the attacker get to it? Good trailing move there by Rumley. But Rossler comes up with it. And if you can even fathom it, Immaculate's even younger as a squad than Wethersfield is. As they try to move up now with Tata for Wethersfield. Out of play. We'll see a throw in. It will be handled by Pellegrino. Talked about Immaculate being young. Raffini and Paige Davis are the only seniors, as you see Boudet handle that one for Wethersfield. 2 seniors, 7 juniors, 10 freshmen on the roster, and just 3 sophomores. That means 13 out of the 22 players are underclassmen. And that bodes well for Nelson Mingachos and the rest of the Mustangs.
Yeah, I mean, with the youth on both of these rosters, you might think that this could become a bit of a postseason rivalry in years to come.
You'd like to see that. But just as it is for Mingachos' basketball team, he also coaches the boys basketball side for Immaculate. Because of the numbers and the fact that they do have a private school, they get moved around a lot. Obviously, this year they came all the way from S to L. It's their second year in L. And in basketball, they went from S to M to L, back to S, and now back to M.
You know, the thing I've been most impressed with from Immaculate so far has just, honestly, has been their defensive play. I mean, they've got the early goal through a free kick, but every time Wethersfield has the ball and gets it as far as midfield, there's at least 7, usually 8, 9 players behind the ball. It's not going to be easy to get through all of those white shirts.
I think it was the 4th Navy shirt that attacked Linden was finally able to dispossess it. It was Generis. Tried to get Rumley going forward, and now it's Tata. Linden has been the pest in this matchup.
As well as Lanza.
For Immaculate. We're just halfway through this first half. If you're tuning in now, there was a yellow card in the 8th minute that went against Stephanie Emmanuel of Wethersfield. Right after that, a direct kick put in the back of the net by Caitlin Linden. Her 35th career goal. Immaculate up 1-0 in the semifinal. Boudet not able to come up with it. It's loose in the box. That ends up working for this counterattack as Generis is off and running. That's the first touch on the ball we've seen in a while from Paige Davis, the All-America candidate for Immaculate.
Yep, Davis committed already to play for the College of Charleston. Fantastic place to go and visit. I've got family down in the area. I can tell you it's a beautiful place, and I'm sure she's going to be very happy that she chose that place to pursue her college education.
Tried to sneak it into Davis. Good shoulder-to-shoulder maneuver by the defender after she couldn't come up with it.
Yeah, and I like Boudet finding this outlet pass to Skaka. It seems to me if Wethersfield is going to be able to unbalance this deep and very drilled defense of Immaculate, they're going to have to find the weak side. And by that I mean whatever side the ball is on, there are so many numbers crowded in that area, but in doing so, they leave a lot of space on the other side of the field away from the ball. If they can get a quick change point of attack, then there's going to be a lot of space to work in. Otherwise, they're going to find very, very tight quarters to have to work the ball.
Raposo, she's got some space. Flips that up to Tata. They were looking back in that direction, and it's cut out by Immaculate. Haley Davis. They just haven't been able to contain Davis or Lanza. Lanza throwing that cleat up. They're going to call that against Wethersfield for the push. Lanza tried to retaliate there.
It looks like we're going to have a stoppage of play here. The official just investigating if someone needed to tie their shoe, I suppose.
Our head official is trying to make sure that he has things taken care of tonight. Already handed out a yellow card. That's Bruno Matteo. The assistant referee 1 is Frank Severo. And then Stan Kupinski. That doesn't sound like any of the first names I gave you, the first two. I would say that's Polish. Then a couple Italian guys. All right. Just make sure we're on the same page there. Still kind of stuck in that previous conversation we were having about College of Charleston. What do they call them? The King Street Scoundrels or something like that?
King Street, definitely a fun place to hang out. I'm sure some of Ralph Lundy's players have spent some time there. But, yeah, it's a good conference and a quality place to be.
Sean Mecke, one of those guys that when he was traveling the country as a college coach or as a goalkeeper in some of his earlier playing days, kind of guy that would probably use the company card or the school card to do whatever he could to have a good time. Maybe eat a extra dinner or something like that.
Never once, Frankie. I kept all my receipts.
Ugh, what a liar. I'm just kidding. Sean Mecke, the College of New Jersey / Trenton State University product. And in the second half, he will talk about our two goalies in your favorite segment, Keeping It Real with Sean Mecke.
Can't believe I have my own feature.
You do. You made it to the big time now. And if you want to talk to Sean about this new feature, maybe you have a suggestion, you can hit him up at Sean Mecke on Twitter, or you can talk to me about what you want me to say to Sean at Frankie Grazi 6. But most importantly, do me a favor. Tweet at CPTV Sports, hashtag CTGSoc if you're watching this one, and talk about some girls soccer, our tournament coverage. And if you follow us now, you can become our 2,000th follower. Might win a prize.
Are employees eligible for that contest, Frankie?
Nope.
No.
Goal kick will be taken by the defender. 15 minutes left in this opening half. Wethersfield has played from behind for the last 17 minutes.
Immaculate taking their turn working the ball very well on this last set.
Anytime they can get it out to Davis in front, she's been a pest. Tough bounce, but the goalkeeper Boudet handles it. Generally, when the ball has been spread out, Wethersfield has had no problem in the defensive end. But when it's in the box, particularly in that central area, some trouble with the clearances. Yeah. Thankfully, you got the backbone helping you out.
And really, that trouble you speak of, it has a name, and you know, it has two names, Lanza and Haley Davis. Those two are just such a physical presence, and they work with such determination. There's no such thing as an easy out from that defensive third.
Raposo. It might have been an incidental handball there, but not called. And losing it out of play is Generis. Generis on the season, 14 goals, but Generis, this is a fun stat, hasn't scored in the last 3 games. That's because Jane Rumley's been the hottest thing this side of the Connecticut River.
Yeah, goals from Rumley, Skaka, Raposo, Tata, and this postseason has really been an all-around team effort in that front 6.
But we talk about the trouble posed, at least on the defensive side, for Wethersfield. A couple of questions have to be asked. Number one, how are you going to defend the Davises and Lanza? And number two, what kind of personnel can you throw at them? Megan Hoysel, their top central back, out. Yeah. She had an ankle injury. She's in a boot. We'll see a doctor this week. If they can win, she may play in the Class L final, but it's in doubt at this point. So Di Loretto?
Yeah, I mean, in the meantime, you know, you got Megan Darrell put into that mix, and she and Di Loretto have really found good chemistry together. And additionally, to kind of shore up the center pipeline there, they've moved into that 4-5-1 or the 4-2-3-1 as some like to call it, just so that the center of the park is a little more difficult to move the ball through.
Of course, one of the more dramatic players in the state of Connecticut history in soccer, authoring one of the most dramatic moments, is Tyler Peterson of Glastonbury. He suffered an ankle injury. He's a defender. They told him, hey, you're out for the year. That's generally a 4 to 6 week injury at least. Usually you're out for 2 to 3 months. He decided that he'd go to the doctor one more time, a third opinion basically. After all his PT, on a Friday, they said you're cleared to play. 5 days later, he's in the Class L semifinal, and he scores in his first game. Glastonbury is on to the L final on the boys' side, where they will play Farmington. You can watch a feature about Tyler. It's not as up to date, so I basically told you folks that he was out for the year and won't be coming back. But I guess we'll have to update it. YouTube.com/CPTV Sports under the Best in Connecticut Sports Spotlight. You want to look at what's called the shoulder game. And Sean Mecke makes a couple of cameos in that. The vocal stylings of Sean Mecke.
Wow, that was a very memorable game and a memorable performance by Peterson. I mean, a memorable performance by both teams, honestly. If you have to have a championship that ends in a tie, you want it to be as exciting as that game was.
Player down. But Immaculate keeps the possession. Right now, a solid attack led by Kirkman.
It's a good read by Rummel, and then impressive from Generis to pull the ball off of her.
But a tough communication moment there from Rumley. That's when the senior Generis just took over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sort of takeover usually is communicated, but Generis just got to take it upon herself, and I think it was the right move. I mean,
it was.
He really started to get some momentum upfield. Unfortunately for Wethersfield, not able to find that last pass in behind the defense.
officially in the final quarter of this first half. 9:50 left to go. That goal coming in the 1-0 that you see on the screen came in the 8th minute on a direct kick by Caitlin Linden. Yellow card to set that one up by Stephanie Emmanuel. Have to watch out with the cards because they do carry over.
Yeah, and I should say, as much as I was gently skeptical about the card at that stage in the game, based mostly on just how loose the game had been called to that point, certainly a free kick. You know, nothing to be argued about as to whether or not that free kick should have been called.
And it takes an all-state kind of player like Linden to just bury that. And Boudet covered a lot of ground on that one. But when you're upper 90 and dipping it in like that, you have no chance. Tata. Martin. Try to sneak it into Rumley. What a good run on the ball. A nice surprise by Skaka. But Rossler comes up with it.
Skaka showing some serious speed on this. I think, you know, the left back, Mitchell here for Immaculate, took a look over her shoulder and saw nobody. And then in the time that she had looked then and looked away, Skaka had found her way in front of her. Nearly came through with that ball.
On the other side, Boudet had to come up with one.
Yeah, very quick off of her line to get that ball.
20 goals allowed, as we mentioned. She had 9 shutouts. South Windsor, they lost 5-2 in their first meeting. Lost to Glastonbury 1-0. And the second time they played Glastonbury was 4-1. Also lost against Simsbury 2-0. Those 3 teams, 2 out of them making the semifinals at least. And South Windsor going very far in their tournament. But they eventually tied South Windsor in their second meeting. So since then, they've been doing pretty well.
And this right here is key. If we can just see if they can connect this pass centrally. Unfortunately not. You know, if they're able to find one of those midfielders there, that is what Wethersfield needs to do. Because Immaculate is so quick to swarm and apply pressure to where the ball is, if they're able to change the point of attack just as they did there, stop, turn around, bring it back, and go through the middle of the field, the other side is open.
Now we see a lot of the 4-5-1. We talk about this every telecast. But this is a 4-2-3-1. The reason why they did that, coach basically said, hey, my midfield wasn't good enough. But now you have Rumley coming on, playing the forward role. You can push Generis back. Now all of a sudden you're stronger in the midfield. And this formation lends itself to the fact that if you are behind and you're having a little bit of trouble, that goal can come at any time now if you can set the right proper counterattack.
Yeah, and it's also very easy to transition from this formation into a proper 4-3-3 and just simply take those 2 wide players and move them further up the field as forwards.
Needed a little more oomph on that pass. This is an institution that they're playing against. The top girls soccer program in the state in this millennium, led by Nelson Mingachos, class of 1989 out of Immaculate. He has had a lot of players come and go. Recently, Natalie Diaz and Houghton, as we mentioned earlier, the goalkeeper. Very strong players, and now you have Paige Davis kind of taking over that lead role. But down in Mustang Valley, they breed champions. And they've had a lot to be proud of lately. They want to get back and prove that they could win in a different league. They're looking to win one in L. Their best point of emphasis usually during a game is they can pass the ball and hold possession to the point where they lull you right to sleep and they softly put it in the back of the net. Wethersfield has done a good job early on of going back and forth here.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you were to look at the possession stat, if we were to have that figure, I don't know that it would be as dramatically in favor of Immaculate as you might believe. I would think at most it's 55-45, maybe even closer. The only issue is you feel that Immaculate's really been the dominant force in the game because it's all been in this half of the field. There's been only the occasional foray for Wethersfield forward into the Immaculate end.
Well, the first 10 minutes, it was all Immaculate. So that's why Wethersfield has worked to keep it down since then. Kirkman. Paige Davis looking to get involved. Just a stalwart on that midfield line.
I think both teams have also spent a little bit more time, they've spent the majority of the time on this near side of the field, the right side flank for Immaculate, the left side flank for Wethersfield. It's been on the other side occasionally, but we haven't seen it as much. And as I've noticed, there's some pretty darn good players on that side of the field that both teams might want to get involved in the form of Mingachos and also Skaka.
That goes off of Boudet. Tried to catch it, but that wind wreaked havoc on him. Little over 3 minutes to go. Second corner kick of the matchup for Immaculate. They lead 1-0.
Yeah, windy day or not, you really would hope to see Boudet hold on to that ball because it's going to be costly giving up the corner kick here.
Delivered into the box. The goalkeeper is beat. Defense able to extend that play so that she can get back. And she's able to make the save. Looking at the replay, you see it get right into the box, and then it's loose after that.
Yeah, and the Wethersfield defender's doing just enough to make sure that nobody from that Immaculate team in the white shirts has a chance to put a clean boot through the ball. And that a lot of times is all you need to do is just get enough of a body on them as they're trying to shoot and make sure they can't have a clean technique on that shot.
Now it says 48 degrees on that scoreboard. It feels like it's about 35 just because of the wind. A lot of people bundled up in the stands. Seeing a lot of beanies out there. Down here in West Haven on the shore. As that ball goes out and you'll see a goal kick. No. Must have been tapped somewhere down the line.
Yeah, I'm not sure who may have possibly gotten a foot on that ball.
Play has been sloppy on that Wethersfield defensive end. So they're happy to be down just 1-0 here.
And the wind is definitely playing a little bit in as a factor toward that Wethersfield goal. Might have something to do with why the game's been on this half of the field.
Again, they get to the far post. That time it sneaks just over the head of the Immaculate attacker. I think that was Linden far post. A situation where Boudet beat again.
Yeah, you see Summer Boudet out trying to get to this ball, and you know it carries just a little further than she's anticipating. And if one of these Immaculate attackers on the back post is able to get ahead on this, they've got an empty net to shoot at.
60 seconds left. Linden trying to get her second goal of the match. Tries to sneak it in there to Davis. Now Generis taking things over. You see how quick Immaculate gets back on defense. Wethersfield definitely needs to get to the half because so much defensive time placed on this time of possession. Julia Martin. Off her shoulder, keeps it alive. 30 seconds left in the half. See a throw from Haley Davis. No, it's going to go to Wethersfield. Linden heads that away. 18 seconds left. Can we see one last chance here by Wethersfield? Di Loretto pops it forward. Can they get a run on the ball with 10 seconds left?
7, 6.
Doesn't look like it. There you go to the half. Down 1-0. Immaculate, a goal in the 8th minute is the difference. We'll be back with the second half next. You're watching CPTV Sports.
Because you know I'm all over.
What do basketball, choir, drama club, and marching band all have in common? They're all high school activities that offer learning opportunities not necessarily found in the classroom. They take up just a fraction of a typical Connecticut high school's budget, and they go a long way to giving young people the tools they need to thrive. High school activities, they're more than extracurricular. They're extra important, too. This message presented by the Connecticut Interscholastic Athletic Conference and the Connecticut Association of Athletic Directors.
Globe Trekker is back, and this year it soars higher than ever.
Welcome to the International Space Station.
See the natural beauty, taste the cuisine, meet the people, and visit unique places the Globe Trekker way. Be curious, be adventurous, enjoy the fun. Experience it all on Globe Trekker.
Tune in to CPTV Sports Wednesdays at 2:30 p.m. for Globe Trekker.
You start to look at kind of some very staggering unemployment situations for veterans coming back, and you're seeing 2-3 times just the national average. You start asking yourselves, well, what could we do?
I am medically retired out of the military. I love art. I love graphics. I love putting together videos and learning these things with the help and the mentoring. This has been a therapy. It has helped me a lot.
For more information on our training programs, visit iam.cpbn.org.
Tune in this week for high school football, only on CPTV Sports. CPTV Sports is made possible by our presenting sponsor, Columbia Dental, and by our exclusive radio partners, 97.9 ESPN and Fox Sports Radio 1410. Paige Davis right away starts with it. The All-America candidate. The NSCAA will soon make that decision. A couple of girls from Connecticut will be up for a spot. Could it be Davis? Could it be Julia Carr out of Guilford? How about Jenna Bike from St. Joseph? Paige Davis. Now to Lanza. Shot from Lanza, and it's wide. That's Kayla Lanza. 17 goals in 2 years thus far for the sophomore, Lanza.
Now it looks like Di Loretto here is called for a little bit of contact on Lanza during that shot.
That's our head official, Bruno Matteo.
And the determination then from our center official is that the contact heavily influenced that shot. Otherwise, you would say she got the shot away and advantage was played.
Nice shot, handled by Boudet. And you see how much of a hard worker the official is. He's got the 10 yards to look at on the field, but he's still a gamer. He's going to chop it off by walking and count 10 steps himself. And now Haley Davis, shot on net. Good save. Poked away by Di Loretto.
It's a fantastic through ball to find Haley Davis, and a great piece of play there from Summer Boudet to come out and close her down and eliminate the angle.
How many strikers that you see have the number 99 attached to them? That's off the field goal posts, and it will be a goal kick. Haley Davis and also Kayla Lanza have just been wreaking havoc on the Wethersfield defense. See a lot of fans enjoying themselves here at the half, walking around with some drinks and some French fries. But this time of year, it's all about that hot cocoa. And they got it here in West Haven. They got a lot of things. They got the tenders to warm you up. They got the fries. Immaculate looking to warm themselves up with another insurance goal. And it's kicked away by Boudet.
corner kick will be the third of the matchup for Immaculate. It's been a hard time for the defense of Wethersfield to deal with these kicks because of not only the wind, but also the trouble that the Central defense has had handling these balls. Right on that near post. Good play by the Wethersfield D. Trying to start something now with Raposo. Now Jane Rumley.
And that's some pretty good combination play there between those two. But again, if you're only going to see two players combining on that ball, it's just not going to be enough to get past this very congested defense of the Immaculate squad. But I like what I'm seeing right here from Wethersfield as they're playing out of this. But they've moved that line of pressure. I think the line of pressure was a little bit too deep for Wethersfield in the first half, which really allowed Immaculate to keep the ball in the Wethersfield half almost that entire first segment. Now with this higher line of pressure, they'll hopefully be getting it back further up the field.
See the two Immaculate shirts collapsing on the ball. Of course it's Lanza, and of course it's Haley Davis. Wethersfield able to clear for now. On the outside, there's Bella Mingachos, the coach's daughter. The assistant of this team for Immaculate is Brad Jeeves. Coach Mingachos said before that penalty kick game against Northwest Catholic in the quarterfinal that he felt like his daughter was going to come up big in that game. Kirkman looking to get a shot there. Goes out of play towards the direction of Bella Mingachos. He said, I have a feeling, Brad, that she's coming up big tonight. I think my daughter's got it. She scored what proved to be the game-winning penalty kick.
I think whenever you find yourself in a penalty kick shootout, you want the people behind the ball who want to be behind the ball. You know, sometimes I see the marquee players for a given team, the goal scorers, people who are very talented offensively, if they don't have that steely nerve and that desire to be behind the ball at the penalty spot, sometimes coaches still put them in there, and to me that's a mistake. You want the people behind those shots who want to be there. It's just going to come down to nerves in the end, and you want someone who's excited to be on that kick.
He pulled me aside earlier. Loves coaching his daughter, but he also hates coaching his daughter. Never easy. Especially when you're dealing with a teenager. But she's got the goods. He's happy to be coaching his daughter. She's very good on the soccer field. We were talking about Brad Jeeves earlier. Brad Jeeves was a keeper for CFC Newtown when they joined the CSL, the Connecticut Soccer League. And if you even want to look at some further connections to Nelson Migachos, as a player goes down from the shoulder to shoulder.
Wow.
Are they giving her the spot? That's a shoulder-to-shoulder situation. Because it's in the box, it looks a little more egregious. Hard to not, I don't want to say hard to agree, but hard to justify at this point of the game. Team down already 1-0. It was, I would say it was kind of late. We'll see here.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely see the defender running across the attacker as is customary, but
Linden takes it, buries it. Her second goal of the match. It comes in the 47th minute, and it's 2-0, and she scored on 2 kicks thus far.
Perfectly placed shot. You really aren't going to get any better than that. That is a penalty kicker who is very confident in her shot, lifting the ball up over Summer Boudet's left side, and a very well placed shot. You know, getting back to the point I was making about the call itself, though, you know, very customary to see your defender run across the path of the attacker and a little bit of contact made. I'm just not sure that I can agree with our center official Bruno Mazzo here, because really is the defender denying a goal scoring opportunity in that instance, and I just don't think she was.
Sometimes if it's that egregious, where was the card? Didn't see it.
Boudet tempting fate. Yeah, tempting fate and deciding not to catch that ball, offering a rebound to such a talented player as Haley Davis. But fortunately for Summer Boudet, making the save and collecting her own rebound.
Sometimes a windfall could occur after you give up what you can perceive as a tough goal. What's going to be tough for the fans, as they will undoubtedly complain about that goal, you're going to look at the replay first of the last play. There you see Boudet trying to give that up. But what the fans will inevitably complain about, the hard thing to argue with the official, is that was indeed a late challenge.
Yeah, and ultimately 2 goals, both of them on calls by the center official. But, you know, the first one is just black and white. It very clearly was a free kick, and the young lady hit it incredibly well. But the second one, certainly there'll be some controversy surrounding that call.
No matter the way you look at it, Wethersfield, with 32 minutes left, has to get on the board. They need 2 goals if they want to get to the Class L final. To fasten in your couch and grab everything you can. The chips, maybe some dip, and get ready for the pointers from the former goalkeeper of the College of New Jersey / Trenton State University, where we will attempt to figure out how these 2 goalkeepers are doing thus far. What a great pass. Can they finish? You thought she buried it after beating the goalkeeper, but just wide.
And this combination here between Lanza and Davis is the most attractive piece of soccer we've seen all night. I really like this reverse pass to send Lanza in on goal.
Attractive, nearly perfect as an adjective there. I would raise you one and say intoxicating. I told you, this team from Immaculate, famous for just lulling you to sleep with their play.
Well, I think what it is sometimes, Frankie, is they do play very direct. I've noticed that they're using that physicality, but then they do also have the quality to move the ball around. So, you know, you're absorbing this physicality and this pressure, and then all of a sudden this little bit of sophistication comes in with a combination, and you're just not looking for those passes to be there. And it's really, as you said, you get lulled into one mode of thinking, and then suddenly you've got to defend a very different look. So a pretty potent offense from this Immaculate squad.
I think you're going to like this next statement. It falls upon Boudet, who is just being challenged right now and being pushed against the wall, who is making all these saves, cutting off the passes, who has got to make the point to her team that they got to keep going. She's the perfect example. A senior leader, the goalkeeper, and you appreciate when they're in charge of the communication. Julia Martin fought off there by Paige Davis. She was spinning around, but still managed to deliver that ball in the center. Lanza, she goes down. That's not a call. Wethersfield back on the attack now. It's the first time we've seen Kristen Rossler in the second half. And Wethersfield, wouldn't you like to know? I'm sure that they would like to continue that.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge for Rossler tonight is going to be that she's going through long periods of time without having to be very active. And speaking of lulling someone to sleep, as a goalkeeper back there, you can sometimes feel very disconnected from the game. So I'm sure what her coaches would tell her to do in a match like this, where she's not been tested very frequently, is to stay active in the game, communicate with her defenders, and make sure that she stays sharp for when she will eventually be called upon.
Out of play. 28 minutes left to go in this one. Immaculate, the Mustangs, out of Danbury. They lead 2-0. their 13th straight semifinal appearance. That's not a lie. Another fact, they've won 9 out of the previous 12 games that they've played in the semifinal. Those 9 wins have translated to 9 championships. Hard to argue with that stretch they had from 2003 to 2013 where they won 9 championships in 10 years.
Megan Darrell on the kick.
Coming up with it there, Rossler. Sean, it's been a great state tournament in every single one of the classes. All the way from girls class S, where you see Housatonic get into the final, their first time ever. All the way to the boys class double L level, where you see Tyler Peterson coming back as an unlikely hero. Nick Kapelewski's been hurt too for Glastonbury, but he scored, I think, 5 goals in the tournament.
Yeah, he's been huge in the postseason, and that's a player that I'd love to have a chance to see play this weekend.
Then they will play Farmington, of course. We don't have to tell you about them, looking for their 3rd title in a row. But setting up this Class L Girls Championship that Immaculate would like to hold for the next 25 minutes. They'd like to hold Wethersfield back here. They played Northwest Catholic and won in penalty kicks 5-4. And then in the second round, they saw Joel Barlow for the 2nd time this year, a team that they had tied earlier. Somehow Immaculate has tied 4 teams this year.
Yeah, just looking at this ball here, you know, this is what Wethersfield is going to have to do to get back in this game. So you look at Cathcart here coming forward out of the back to receive this ball and serving a nice ball in. Ideally, she'd like to keep that a little bit further away from the keeper, Rossler, but that is a great indication that from all that possession, you're getting more dangerous attack when you see those wide backs getting forward.
For the Wethersfield Eagles, the goals have been spread out. Last game, a 2-2 tie that ended up as a 9-8 penalty kick win. Raposo and Skaka scored in that game, beating the number 15 seed Pomerog. And then they won 2-0 in the second round against Brantford. Rumley and Tata scored in that game. For Wethersfield, a 7th seed, Immaculate, a 6th seed. The way that things worked out with the lack of the amount of teams qualifying in L, there was a lot of teams that got the byes in the first round. You're talking about the top 8 seeds getting byes.
Yeah, not sure what the injury is here to Stephanie Emmanuel, but our officials stopping the clock and allowing her to seek some treatment on the sideline.
I'll tell you what, though, no matter what you think about this officiating crew, clear control. Meticulous with the clock, and also making some big calls in this matchup when it pertained to penalties.
Yeah, and by the letter of the law here, Emmanuel, looks like with the athletic trainer on the sideline tending to possibly some blood. Certainly anytime a player has got blood appearing, you have to treat that and clean it up before they're allowed back on the field. And once she gets cleaned up, I'm sure she'll be sent right back on. And here she is. She's being waved in as we play.
I don't want to assume anything, but Lanza with a nice position on that attempt that she had to try to get the ball back to the goalkeeper of Wethersfield. You draw your own conclusions. Lanza look to get that one back. Can she get the shot off? It's been all Lanza in the second half. Lanza drew the penalty kick that Linden ended up putting home. 23 minutes left, 2-0 your score. A goal in the 8th minute off of a free kick drawn by the yellow card. And then a 47th minute goal off a penalty kick, both by Linden. A 2013 Connecticut All-State player. Linden with the ball now. No problem with the defenders on that far side.
Yeah, Linden, the set piece specialist, showing that she's also got skill in the speed of the run of the game.
That's out of play. It will be a throw in deep in Wethersfield territory. Paige Davis able to win it back. That's a tough situation for the Wethersfield defender. They're going to cross it. Beautiful cross. They went to Bellamy Gachos, and the defense was able to dispossess. That's a welcome to the starting lineup moment for Megan Darrow there, as she's 1-1 on the corner flag. Her back to the corner flag. Has to clear it away. Looking at Paige Davis, the All-America candidate, she's touched the ball maybe 3 times tonight. Her job has been to hold the line and make sure that they maintain possession on the offensive end, and they have. How has she done so far, Shaw?
Yeah, I mean, you've really hit the nail on the head there. She has been really spending more of her time on defensive duty tonight, but she's broken up just about anything Wethersfield has gotten moving in the center of the park. So she's also given some excellent service into Haley Davis and Lanza up top, and that's really the other end of the play that we don't recognize as often, is those nice through balls sent in are usually coming from her feet. So she's had a quiet but steady performance.
This will be the 5th corner kick of the game for Immaculate. And it will be Mingachos, the daughter of head coach Nelson Mingachos. Keeps it on the ground. Nice give and go. She was going to try that one.
Yeah, the first half of this set piece here, this routine corner kick, is really well executed in terms of the short pass and the return ball. And then from there, I'm not sure if Mingachos is looking to probably strike that one on net the way she hit it with that much pace, but not able to find the frame.
Stay tuned after this one. Sean Mecke is going to talk to the player of the game. And normally, we like to have fun with you and tell you who that player is going to be right at that moment. We don't need to tell you now. We're going to tease you. But if you don't know who it is by now, you're probably dumb. We love you all, though. Under 20 to go. And stay tuned at the 15-minute mark. We're going to play our favorite game here. We're going to get Sean Mecke going on Keeping It Real, where we talk about both goalkeepers.
Now, is that keeping with an apostrophe or with a G on the end?
Like hanging with Mr. Cooper. No G on the end.
All right, fair enough. And if we're going to keep it real, we can't include that G.
Yeah, you're keeping it real. We don't have time to talk about this. There's a game going on, and there's Caitlin Linden. And Kayla Lanza now. Look at this passing. Chested down by Kurtman, but taken away by the Wethersfield D.
And that right there was an example of the game day intelligence of Paige Davis, recognizing the intention of the Wethersfield midfielders here and picking off that pass. That's the sort of thing she's been doing all night.
Missing that cross. They're going to call it offside. Now they're going to call a push. Drawn by Maddie Raposo. I've liked the look of Maddie Raposo this game. Hasn't quit. She's played really good defense. 18 minutes to go. Good time to tell you about our flagship show on CPTV Sports, Beyond the Beat, Tuesday nights at 7, hosted by Joe D'Ambrosio. He's joined, of course, by his panel of esteemed writers in the state of Connecticut, Mike DeMoro of the Day CT, and Jeff Jacobs of the Hartford Current, talking about Connecticut sports and beyond. Tuesday nights at 7, all new Beyond the Beat. Call against Immaculate, and Wethersfield needs to go. Down 2 goals with 17 minutes to go. What have you liked out of Wethersfield tonight?
I've liked their ability to play feet, their technical prowess. I mean, I'm watching a team that is not afraid to move the ball. They're not afraid to play out of the back. What I've really liked is their ability to share the ball as a team. Obviously have not been able to work that into an offensive, any real offensive attempts on goal to this point. But I have really liked the way this team keeps the ball between each other.
Official will stop play right around that 5-yard line. Still about, actually that's near the goal line, about 10 yards away from the net on the indirect kick. Igacho sends it in. Missed Lanza. She took out DiLoretto. That was a dangerous play. Gonna see what happens here.
Yeah, it looks like a collision of heads here, and that's why our official Bruno Mozzo has stopped the play, and certainly a wise decision.
Yeah, that's Lanza diving for the ball, but she was also trying to get a call, and she took out DiLoretto there. $16 minutes to go. Are they going to take DiLoretto out?
Well, I think the athletic training staff is just going to do a quick scan here, make sure that she's got her wits about her, and just screen her quickly in the event of a head injury. Ideally, we'll see a show of sportsmanship here, return the ball back as we do. Lanza's been competing like an absolute juggernaut all night, but she's not so competitive that she wouldn't have the proper sportsmanship to return the ball to Wethersfield there.
Yeah, but she's the kind of girl that if she could find the right bounce in the turf, she'll do it.
Yeah, she's been absolutely tenacious in there. You know, it's a very cool comparison that the first person I think of when I watch Lanza play out there is you know, a world champion and a legend, player of the century for FIFA in Michelle Akers. And you know, I've had
Michelle Akers. Wow.
Amazing player, fantastic human being. I've had a chance to speak with Michelle a number of times, and hearing her tell her stories, one of the things that always struck me, and this is what I see in Lanza out there, is, you know, you say to Michelle, what are you going to try and do out there? And she says, well, you know, whoever's going to mark me, they're not going to have a very good day. And anyone who's been trying to contain Lanza tonight has really had a tough time of it out there, because she has just made it her mission to really be a presence out there, and it's shown, and it's been a great effect for her team in setting up that initial set piece for the free kick, and also setting up the penalty kick.
Don't call it a throwback. Sean Mecke, of course, always bringing that knowledge. A USA Soccer nut. Also a good player in his own right. Which reminds me, where did you come from?
Where did I come from?
Yeah, where'd you play goalkeeper?
Oh, the College of New Jersey.
That's usually our segue into keeping it real with Sean Mecke. Let's talk first about the goalkeeper who hasn't seen any action in the second half. The freshman from Immaculate. Haley Davis first, though, is going to try this one on net, and it's wide. Go ahead with Kristen Rossler.
Rossler has had to make literally one play so far tonight. Read what she needed to read and came out well. Aside from that, I'll say that I like to see a goalkeeper dressed in long pants and long sleeves. And really, I apologize to the young lady for having nothing more to say. But, she's not been tested too much tonight. She looks the part, and I'm sure if she's called into play, we'll have more to say about her.
You can't say the same about Summer Boudet. She has basically had the possession, the only possession by Wethersfield in the second half.
Yeah, and Summer Boudet has had to make some huge saves tonight, and she has. I mean, the two that have gone in have been on very close range set pieces. One a penalty kick, the other a direct kick from about 20 yards out. But out of the run of play, she's stopped some pretty dangerous challenges and been a pretty important member of that defense back there. So she's really done most of what you could ask of her, and it's just a question of whether or not Wethersfield, with 13 minutes left, can push up the field and have something to show on the offensive side of things. I'm starting to wonder if we're going to see a change in formation. I mean, you're looking at 13 minutes left in your season. I would not be surprised to see them shift into a 3-4-3 or some other formation to throw numbers forward.
Yes, and especially when you're watching Immaculate now, they're not going to stop. They want to get the third goal, and they want to get out of here and play Saturday. CIAC has done the job to try to make sure that these games are now played at 10 in the morning and then 1, so that they can get the best possible weather, also get some daylight, and then send the folks on their way. Definitely treat the semifinals differently than they treat the finals. Does the one-on-one opportunity develop? Yes, Davis. That looked like it went in the back of the net, but it might have been off the post.
Yeah, Davis able to beat Boudet here, and the woodwork making the save, and then Boudet scrambling to get up, manages to get on the other end of this.
It's a fantastic shot. Thought she had snuck it in. Off the post. And it was inside the post, too.
Yeah, look how quick Boudet gets up here and throws her body behind the ball. That looks like we're not going to get to see that part.
That's unlucky. That's unlucky for Haley Davis, because it hits the inside part of the post where you think it's going to bounce back in. It doesn't. Maybe that's the sign for Wethersfield to get going here. Rumley, you're going to grow up a little bit in this moment as the freshman. Good pass. To Tata. I'll try to sneak that one back in. Mackenzie Mitchell will handle this throw. That's Kendall of Wethersfield. Number 14, Kendall Cathcart, fighting there with Lanza. Immaculate's going to get the better of them on this possession. And Linden will have the throw. Now Haley Davis. You thought she might try to make an incision there, but good defense. Tata. They got a lot of room on that left side. Got to pass a little bit quicker.
Yep, just still not able to find that weak side where there is so much space.
I think you get ravaged by the moment and being on defense so much in this game. That's part of Immaculate with that possession game style and just putting you to sleep. When that happens, you're not playing as quick as you did in the first half. You got to keep that mentality. I played Glastonbury, I played Simsbury, I played South Windsor, and try to keep applying that. And you get away from it after you play such a staunch squad, just doing whatever they want with the ball in Immaculate.
And really the other thing too is every time Wethersfield does try to find that linking player in the center of the park, you've got either Paige Davis or Victoria Kirkman, both of these two players in the center of the park, recognizing that Wethersfield is attempting to switch the point of attack and immediately pressuring the person on the ball.
Lanza gets the call. Megan Darrell, who committed it, not happy about it. For Emily Finelli's squad, the head coach of Wethersfield, who's also a PE teacher at the Wethersfield Middle School. A lot of these kids she's seen since they were in middle school, obviously. Now she coaches them at the high school level, and she's really close with them. She really wants this for the girls, for them to advance. Raposo, clean play. Tata, can we finally see a shot? They'll get a corner kick with 8:50 left. It's their second corner kick of the matchup. And it will be handled by Tata. Now 46 degrees and windy as Tata delivers this one. On the ground. A little too much giddy up from Rumley. Tough day for Wethersfield, but what a season it's been for Tracy, I keep thinking about Tracy Rumley because of the fabulous point guard at Maloney High School who can just drain buckets like no tomorrow, especially if you're in a drought. You might want to call that guy up. Anyway, Jane Rumley, 6 goals in the CCC. Didn't play the first few games. She was in JV. They called her up and said, you know, how good can you be at this level? After some less than stellar play early on from the attacking core, and they were able to move Janaris back and able to push her forward.
They're having a meeting tomorrow morning because I got to arrange people for rankings.
Yeah, and you know, Rumley just one of a huge cast of characters that'll be back for this Wethersfield team next year. You know, certainly a lot of youth on this Immaculate squad as well. So both of these teams come this time next year, I wouldn't be surprised to see them still playing.
Immaculate, if they can keep this up, will play in the Class L final
versus Avon.
Against Avon. You're so smart, Sean. Who scored in that game? What was the final score?
Couldn't tell you. I'm just hearing rumblings in the booth up here.
Avon wins 2-0. And that game, if I had to put my thinking cap on and say where it would be played, I'd bet you probably $10 that it would be played in West Haven on Saturday. I might lose that bet, but I'm a confident guy. About 6 minutes left. Wethersfield wants to get to that game. Of course, that might throw a wrench in the CIAC's plans if Wethersfield advances. That game would probably be played in New Britain because there would be no reason for the teams up north in Wethersfield and Avon to come down by the shore here. Linden pushes that one up. Taken by Kendall Cathcart. Back to Megan Darrell, who has filled in rather well tonight, as she has in this playoff for Megan Hoysel, suffering through that ankle injury. But Lanza with the push off, and Darrell's got to calm down. She may be right, but you can't let it get the best of you. And the corner kick is going to come from number 16 from Immaculate, Mackenzie Jarbo, a freshman. She's a starter. Into the box, pushed away. The second effort now. It was that Bellum and Gachos that took it in the face. She's back up. Trying to make sure their shin guards are on okay. I think she's okay. Now Mackenzie Mitchell will have the throw with under 5 minutes to go. And now Raposo
Good piece of play from Megan Darrell to find Raposo, skip a line of attack there, and now they're able to get out on that far side.
Martin tried to keep that one. Kirkman kept that one alive. They'll call advantage. Lands on the run. Is she quick enough? DiLoretto is able to get back there. There was a time where DiLoretto had to come out of this game. Automatically a yellow card against Mingachos, who walks away. I don't know what Dad's going to think about that one. We're going to have to come back. We're going to go to break. You're watching CPTV Sports.
So, what'd you do in school today?
Just the usual. I made a stop-motion animation.
You're going to run into the shot now. So
I shot a chase scene for an action movie.
I was in a drum circle with my principal.
I made a self-portrait in Adobe Photoshop.
Just the usual, huh?
To apply, visit jma.hartfordschools.org.
JMA, a different kind of usual.
What do basketball, choir, drama club, and marching band all have in common? They're all high school activities that offer learning opportunities not necessarily found in the classroom. They take up just a fraction of a typical Connecticut high school's budget, and they go a long way to giving young people the tools they need to thrive. High school activities, they're more than extracurricular. They're extra important, too. This message presented by the Connecticut Interscholastic Athletic Conference and the Connecticut Association of Athletic Directors.
Tune in to CPTV Sports Tuesday nights at 7 for all new episodes of Beyond the Beat. Joe D and his panel of guests give you frank dialogue on local sports topics from real local sports people. It's Beyond the Beat, only on CPTV Sports.
Gone are the days of playing sports just for the fun of it.
The following is an excerpt from the CPTV original documentary, Going, Going, Gone.
Some parents believe sports will be their child's ticket to a college scholarship.
My son's applying for a bunch of volleyball schools in Southern California.
Okay. The number of kids getting a full ride to college is way under 1%. Most of them will get partial scholarship offers.
Number 2, CIAC, UConn.
Making it to the pro level is even more of a challenge. Of the 100,000 high school seniors who play football every year, only 215 will ever make it to the NFL. And 3 out of 10,000 male high school basketball players will be drafted into the NBA.
To see the full documentary, go to goinggone.cptv.org.
Tune in to CPTV Sports every Thursday night at 7 for Game Time, hosted by us, Joe Zone
and John Holt. We'll feature interviews with coaches, players, and sports writers from around the state, giving you comprehensive analysis on the Connecticut sports scene.
It's Game Time on CPTV Sports.
Free kick after the yellow card. Delivered to Bella Mingachos in the 76th minute. The second yellow card of this matchup. The other one came to Stephanie Emmanuel from Wethersfield. And now another player goes down as we're beginning the run that should undoubtedly crown Immaculate a finalist. And they're going to take a look right now on the ground. Is that Rumley?
I think
no,
it
Rumley's
is.
up. Rumley's up.
If it's not Rumley, it's Generis, but
Yeah, it's Generis. And they're going to take a look at her ankle. While they do this, I'm going to tell you about an opportunity that you folks have at home. Election day recently passed. If you're an avid voter, don't get sad. Go to cptvsports.org/youchoose and decide where CPTV Sports spends its Thanksgiving. You can vote on our high school football game of the week taking place on Thursday, November the 27th. You've got 5 choices. Do you want us to come back to West Haven and cover Fairfield Prep against West Haven, or Granby at Canton? Maybe you'd like us to take a trip to the oldest rivalry in the state of Connecticut, NFA against New London. Battle at Brookfield, possibly from the SWC, or a matchup of two teams that have been in the top 10 for most of the year, Cheshire taking on Southington. You folks have the power. You choose. cptvsports.org/you choose. Looks to me that everything's okay out there. Generis has gotten up, and there is 3:41 left. Time for Wethersfield to try to get one back here. DiLoretto up in the air.